This week in Women in Sports, two-time champions. We break down everything you need to know about the heart-stopping game that gave the Minnesota Frost the Walter Cup, plus their title celebrations. And we introduce you to a Lynx player who's been a massive addition to the team this season. Then, curling for a good cause. We're speaking with one of the organizers of a curling tournament to help people living with lupus.
WCCO's Women in Sports, sponsored by Franson Bank and Trust.
Thanks for joining us. I'm Maria Lisignoli in for Marielle Mose. Here at WCCO, we are celebrating the highlights of female athletes in this new digital segment called Women in Sports. We'll share new stories with you every week right here as we do our part to give these athletes the recognition they deserve. It's ours again. Frost players and fans paraded through St. Paul Wednesday to celebrate their Walter Cup victory. Your Minnesota Frost are now PWHL back-to-back champs after beating Ottawa in overtime Monday. We'll get back to the celebrations in just a minute, but first, here's Marielle Mose, who was at Game 4 with photojournalist Nick Luneman and caught up with a diehard fan who found herself in the right place at the right time.
For the second year in a row.
Amazing. I mean, I didn't know that it could feel good to be a Minnesota sports fan.
The Minnesota Frost are champs once more.
It was just amazing watching that goal in overtime and just the place exploding. I believe I jumped like 5 feet in the air with excitement, and just having that moment and being present for that moment was really special.
Woo! Two-time champs, baby!
It was really fun because it looked like hard for them to win because Ottawa had like so many chances, but then they just got one. It was really cool.
It was a sea of frost purple in the XL Energy Center on Monday for this matchup. Over 11,000 people showed up to watch this game. After last year's win on the road, fans wanted to make sure they had a chance to see the Walter Cup presentation at home. Frost got the first goal of the night when Plymouth native Kelly Panic scored in the second period. Andover native and UMD alum Maddie Rooney was a brick wall in the goal. Huge save right here. She had a total of 33 saves in this championship game. Then it went to overtime, tied up 1-1. Katie Knoll takes it behind the goal, passing the puck in the front, and Mound native Liz Shepard's right there to knock it in for the game-winning goal. The Frost win 2-1.
All of a sudden I was on my back and everybody was around and we were celebrating. So it was a great play. I know to center it from behind the net, maybe from Katie. Got a couple whacks at it, and it took everything to beat their goalie today, all series too. So yeah.
I don't know, I think I blacked out, but how special for this to happen on home ice. The team played great. It was a really tight series, but the fact that we were able to do this at home is super special in front of friends and family.
All 4 games in this final series went into overtime, which is a testament to how good both of these teams were. But an exhausting series to play, and now the Minnesota Frost players can relax knowing the Walter Cup is staying right here in Minnesota. But it was what happened after the game that turned into a core memory.
All of a sudden we see Tom Reed come in and we're like, oh, this must be the moment. So I got my phone out and was recording them all parading in, and it was just, the place exploded. The fact that we had to have that experience at Tom Reed's, it kind of felt like a really personalized parade just for us.
For fans like Kelly, watching the Frost become the gold standard in hockey is a moment of pure pride.
Being in Minnesota, state of hockey, and people anticipating finally having good things happen to our fandom here in Minnesota for sports, and just kind of that perfect storm to kind of all collide all together.
In St. Paul with photojournalist Nick Luneman, Marielle Mose, WCCO News.
As we mentioned earlier, the Frost celebrated their second cup Wednesday with a parade in downtown St. Paul. Frankie McLister shows us the excitement and joy for the champions.
Cheers and chanting, with a side of gratitude.
It's awesome, you know, the state of Minnesota is always behind us, and we're just excited to share Walter with them for the second time.
We have the best fans in the league. We've said it before. They showed out in all of our home games this season.
And showed up to celebrate after.
I grew up playing hockey. I've been doing it my entire life, and just when they showed up, winning the cup 2 times in a row, I was like,
We're super excited about this. The Walter Cup is a St. Paul resident. We officially declared it today. No other city has one. We got two.
Wednesday's rain didn't stop the downtown march, which ended in a celebratory ceremony at the X.
Let's go Frost, let's frost them over again next year and the year after that.
Because if you think the celebration and determination is done, it's not.
Can you just show us a little bit of the bling bling you got on? What does it say?
Our Walter Cup champions chains here, and then our Minnesota versus everybody.
In St. Paul, Frankie McLister, WCCO News.
Over to the Lynx, where they've had an unbelievable start to the season so far. One of the off-season additions that is paying dividends is Carly Samuelson. Here's Elmos again with more.
We need to be proactive tonight. That'll help for Minnesota.
A pick that has paid off. Carly Samuelson, a 7-year WNBA veteran, has joined the Lynx this season, hoping to be part of something special.
I really couldn't be happier, and now I get to play for a legend like Cheryl.
The Lynx acquired Samuelson on draft day. At the time of the trade, she was mid-flight.
My phone is blowing up. Congrats! Oh my gosh! And my heart starts pounding. I kind of figured I was traded or something happened, but I didn't know where. No one was saying where. And then I had a text from Eric Thibault, who was my coach in DC, that said, "Let's go." And I was like, "I'm traded to Minnesota?" And I called my sister when I finally got service, and she was like, "Yeah, it's been public for 5 hours now," and I just didn't know.
She's not alone as a newbie. Her former head coach for the Washington Mystics, Eric Thibault, joined the Lynx this season as the associate head coach under Cheryl Reeve.
Last year, we saw something in Carly, maybe before some other teams did, and knowing that we had a chance to get her here to complement the players we had, I just thought it'd be a great fit.
I know that he has my best interests at heart, and he'll tell me things as they happen, "Hey, you missed that tag over there," and I'm like, "Yeah, thanks, you're right."
Samuelson is fitting in seamlessly with 27 points this season already, scoring 41% from the arc.
I'm new, but I feel super comfortable in the system, and all the girls are lovely.
Marielle Mose, WCCO Sports.
And take a look at this. Queen Fee, now part of the downtown Minneapolis skyline. Muralist Reggie LaFleur began work on the 35-foot mural of Lynx superstar Napheesa Collier last week. She's had an incredible few years here, earning Defensive Player of the Year last season, leading the Lynx in scoring all the way to the WNBA finals, an Olympic gold medal with the Team USA, and launching Unrivaled, her off-season pro league that creates financial equity in women's basketball.
Just a big, nice, homage, to, some of our greats and just being one of our greats. And hopefully, it gets people, a lot more excited about Lynx.
Indiana Fever star Caitlin Clark will be out for at least 2 weeks. The team announced this week Clark strained her left quad during last weekend's 90-88 loss to the WNBA defending champions, the New York Liberty. This means she'll miss 4 games, including 2 Commissioner's Cups games. Clark played in all 40 games and both playoff games last season. She was the WNBA 2024 Rookie of the Year and has averaged 19 points per game this season. Unbeaten and national champs, UNC beat Northwestern last weekend to capture the program's 4th NCAA Women's Lacrosse Championship. The top-seeded Tar Heels went unbeaten all season and beat the second-seeded Wildcats 12-8. But we still want to stop for a moment to congratulate Minnesota native Jalen Rosga. The redshirt sophomore from St. Paul plays for Northwestern. Olympic gold medalists are here in town. The U.S. women's national team is playing China at Allianz Field Saturday night. But before their international friendly, the team spent the day with the Minnesota Aurora. These are some pictures from the practice Wednesday. Marielle will break down the match against China in next week's Women in Sports segment. Curling for a cause. That's what happened this weekend in Blaine. The annual event was started by a couple 11 years ago to benefit people living with lupus. Photojournalist Tony Peterson met up with the wife who's been living with lupus herself.
Every Minnesotan should learn how to curl, just like Canadians. I learned to curl when I was 11 in Canada. So So it's really cool to see a lot of Canadian curlers come down for this. We are so excited about this weekend. It's my favorite time of the year. The Lupus Spiel is here. Spiel is short for Bonspiel, which means tournament or fun game in German. So from Friday, Saturday, Sunday, there's going to be the most Olympic curlers under one roof that you will ever see. This is free for the public to come in and watch this amazing curling event. I have systemic lupus. I was diagnosed quite a few years ago when I was very young. Lupus is an autoimmune disease where you have an overactive immune system that mistakenly attacks healthy tissue. Lupus is way more prevalent than people realize. They say that everybody knows someone with lupus, and it is more prevalent than AIDS and MS combined. If you know somebody that you think might have lupus, have it be forefront in your mind. We are really doing a big push this year for awareness. We want people to know about lupus and share it with their friends and talk about it. We're losing people from lupus far too often. There's no cure for it. It is a life-threatening disease, so it's critical to get early diagnosis and the right treatment.
The Lupus Spiel is taking place now through Sunday. It's free for anyone to attend. You can learn more at letscurelupus.org. This is one truly inspiring story from halfway around the world. Despite being hungry and living in a war zone, some young girls in Gaza have found a way to make life feel a little bit more normal. 2 days a week, they spend hours learning to skateboard. Here's CNN's Mohammed Darwish.
On Gaza's shattered ground, young girls find a sense of freedom on 4 wheels.
تزلج وانا بدرب البنات يعني كثير بنبسط معهم كمان البنات تقريبا هي اللي تنسينا انه في قصف في موت في حرب.
Despite the dangers and Gaza's rising death toll, with about 53,000 people killed so far, girls like Rimas meet at the YMCA in Gaza City to skate. They practice for 5 hours twice a week, even if it's on an empty stomach. An Israeli siege of the Strip, now in its 3rd month, means food supplies are dangerously low, and many are at risk of malnutrition and famine. Israel says the blockade is a pressure tactic to force Hamas into releasing the hostages. These girls, though, they're just here to skate.
بلعب أنا بس الصبح يعني أنا هيني جاي من دون ما آكل يعني بعبوا صحن يعني في التكية كل 3 أيام وجبة مران باكل الناس.
أهلا وسهلا.
أهلا بيك. ما لقيتهاش لقيتهم خلصة.
ما أنت شكلك متأخرة. إيش كيف بدك تمشي حالك اليوم؟
مش عارف.
ربنا بيبعت إن شاء الله.
Captain Rajab, as he's known, started skating back in 2014.
يا أهلا وسهلا فيكم.
A few years later, he began teaching, and now so many kids show up, they have to take turns using one of the group's 6 remaining skateboards.
وإحنا هدول كمان جبناهم من تحت البيوت المدمرة. إحنا نزلنا تحت الردم وطلناهم عشان نستمر.
Rajab Rimas and a handful of other volunteers are passing on the sport to the next generation, hoping normalcy will one day return.
مرينا بكتير لحظات صعبة. كتير يعني كتير اتحصرنا. وكتير اجى علينا ايام فيش اكل يعني قبل هيك نزل علينا كمان يعني رصاص الدبابه وحاليا الان يعني احنا مفروض منطقتنا اخلاء في الزيتون بس يعني عادي بنطلع خلص يعني توكلنا على الله.
بحاول قدر الامكان ما تقلش على الاطفال لانه الدور اللي فات واحنا بندرب في الاطفال 2 من البنات يعني مش واحده 2 وقعوا. وأنا كنت عارف إنه هذا من نقص الغذاء اللي إحنا بنعيشه. أنا نفسي مرات بلعب هيك مرهق كثير بسبب الجوع اللي إحنا بنعيشه، وهذه مشكلة كبيرة. يعني إحنا اليوم بنواجه عدة أسلحة بتقاتل فينا، ومن ضمنها اللي هو المجاعة.
Music, laughter, friendship, they're all part of the club's spirit, and their numbers are growing all the time, despite the risks.
لا سمح الله إذا أنا صار لي إشي، أنا إلي رسالة موجه رسالة كل هدول اللاعبين اللي إحنا بندربهم. إنه مسيرتي أنا تضلها مستمرة، والرياضة هذه مش حتموت. زي عرق الزيتون موجود في فلسطين. هذه الرياضة حتضلها مستمرة إن شاء الله.
Mohammed Darwish, CNN.
Thanks for watching this week's Women in Sports. Marielle Mose will be back with more great stories next week. I'm Maria Lisignoli.